Have you noticed subtle changes in someone you love? Like they're slowly slipping away, even though they're still here? What if those small shifts were actually the body's quiet way of saying goodbye, long before the final moment ever arrives? Most people believe that when the end of life comes, it happens suddenly, like a candle flickering out in an instant. But the truth is far more gentle and far more heartbreaking. In the final year of life, the body doesn't shout, it whispers. Small changes, barely noticeable at first, begin to appear. A loss of interest in food, a forgotten name, a tiredness that doesn't seem to lift. Families often miss these signs because they seem like just aging. But in reality, these subtle shifts may be the body's quiet countdown, gently preparing for goodbye. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. When you recognize the signs, you're not caught off guard. You're given the gift of time, time to comfort, to connect, and to make every remaining moment count. Let's take a closer look at what really happens in that final year, so you can walk beside your loved one with compassion, not confusion. It often starts with something small. Maybe your loved one pushes their plate away after just a few bites. Perhaps the favorite meals they once asked for no longer excite them. Or maybe you notice that the pantry stays fuller than usual because groceries aren't being used like they used to be. At first, it's easy to explain away. Maybe they're just not hungry, or maybe their taste buds are changing. But over time, it becomes clearer. Their connection to food is fading, and with it, so is a vital piece of their well-being. This quiet change in appetite is more than just pickiness or forgetfulness. It can be one of the earliest indicators that the body is slowly shutting down. As people age, especially in the final year of life, their metabolism slows, their digestion becomes more fragile, and their interest in eating begins to diminish. But it's not just physical. Emotionally, food is tied to memory, comfort, and joy. When someone no longer finds pleasure in eating, when shared meals lose their meaning, it's often a sign that they're retreating, not just from the table, but from the world around them. Families often feel helpless when this happens. They try everything, favorite dishes, soft foods, snacks on the hour, but nothing seems to spark that old appetite. It's heartbreaking, not because of the food itself, but because of what it represents, a slow detachment from life. If you notice this change, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. Sit with them during meals, share a story, offer small portions of foods they used to love without pressure. Sometimes a bite or two is all they can manage, and that's okay. Most importantly, see this moment not just as loss, but as a signal, a chance to slow down, be present, and make peace with the quiet transition that's beginning. Have you ever sat beside a loved one, only to realize the room feels quieter than it used to? The lively conversations, the spontaneous comments, even the simple good morning start to fade, not because they have nothing to say, but because the energy to speak begins to slip away. This silence can be subtle at first. You may notice shorter responses. Yes, no, I'm fine. Words that once flowed effortlessly now come slowly, or not at all. Sometimes they seem lost in thought, not quite present. Other times, they might struggle to find the right words, or simply choose not to speak. This fading voice isn't just about sound. It's a sign of deeper changes happening inside the body and brain. In the final stages of life, the brain starts to conserve energy. Mental clarity may come and go. Physical fatigue can make the effort of speaking feel like climbing a mountain. And emotionally, they may begin to turn inward, processing memories, emotions, in the life they've lived. Families often mistake this for sadness or stubbornness. They say, "Talk to me," or "Why won't you say something?" But the truth is, they're already beginning to say goodbye in the quietest way possible. This can be incredibly difficult for those watching from the outside. We want to hear their voice again, feel connected, share one more story or joke. But sometimes presence matters more than conversation. Sitting beside them, holding their hand, letting the silence speak for itself, that's often the comfort they need most. If your loved one's voice has begun to fade, try not to fill the space with worry or noise. Instead, offer soft words, gentle reminders of love, and moments of stillness. Play music they once loved. Share memories aloud. Even if they don't respond, know that your voice is being heard and your presence felt. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's a sacred pause, a signal that the soul is beginning to transition in its own time and in its own way. At first, it might look like they're just napping more, a doze on the couch after lunch, a late morning lie-in, a quiet, still moment in the afternoon sun. You may even smile and think they've earned their rest. And in many ways, that's true. But over time, the naps grow longer. The energy to stay awake fades. Days blend into nights, and sleep becomes more than rest, it becomes retreat. This isn't ordinary tiredness. It's a deep, body-wide exhaustion that rest doesn't fix. In the final stages of life, the body starts conserving its remaining energy. Organs begin to slow down. Metabolism drops. The body is quietly shifting its focus from daily activity to internal preservation. It's a natural part of the process, but it can be difficult to witness. One of the most tender and sometimes painful signs that the final year may be unfolding is the way the mind begins to wander. At first, it might be small lapses. They forget what day it is or mix up the names of family members. You might hear the same story repeated several times in one conversation. These slips seem innocent, just signs of aging, you tell yourself. Everyone forgets things now and then, but gradually the fog thickens. You may notice them staring at a familiar object with a puzzled look, unsure of its purpose. They may ask questions they already asked moments ago. At times, they may seem to drift between the present and the past, talking as if they're back in their childhood home or mentioning people who've been gone for decades. This mental confusion isn't just memory loss. It's the brain slowly disconnecting from the details of daily life. The body is preparing for a deeper transition, and the mind, too, starts to let go. And yet, this chapter holds something extraordinary. In the middle of all the confusion, there are moments of sudden clarity. You might find your loved ones speaking with deep awareness. They might remember something long forgotten and smile. They may say something profound or offer final words that stay with you forever. This phenomenon is not uncommon. In their final days or even weeks, some elderly people seem to wake up briefly, offering precious closure or moments of peace. This chapter can be bittersweet. Watching someone you love lose parts of their memory is heartbreaking. But those flashes of recognition, those lucid minutes, they are windows into the soul that still remains present beneath the surface. In this phase, your calm presence matters more than ever. Speak to them gently, even if they don't seem to understand. Use their name, touch their hand, play their favorite music, show them old photos. These small actions ground them and help you connect, even as the mind starts to drift away. Remember, confusion doesn't mean they've left you. Not yet. Their spirit is still near, flickering in and out of focus, waiting for you to simply be there, patient and loving, until the mind is ready to let go. You might notice they can't finish conversations without drifting off. Meals are interrupted by sleep. They may be awake for shorter periods, just an hour here, 2 hours there, and even then, they may seem foggy or detached. This isn't just being tired, it's the body quietly preparing. And yet, in this slowing down, there's an opportunity. These brief waking moments become more precious than ever. A few minutes of lucidity, a single smile, a whispered thank you. These are not just signs of life, they are gifts. As a caregiver, it's natural to feel helpless. You want to shake them gently awake, talk, do something to bring them back to full attention. But the kindest thing you can do in this stage is to respect the rhythm their body's asking for. Let the light in. Keep the room peaceful. Hold their hand when they stir. Don't rush the moment. Fatigue at the end of life isn't failure. It's part of the body's wisdom, knowing when to rest for the final time. If your loved one is sleeping more than they're awake, don't see it as time lost. See it as a quiet preparation. Speak softly, sit close, and remember, sometimes the most powerful connection happens in stillness. There comes a point, often in the final months or weeks, when something shifts deeply, not just in the body or mind, but in the spirit. Your loved one begins to turn inward. They speak less, They sleep more. The desire to engage in conversations, even with those they love most, begins to fade. They may sit quietly for hours, gazing out the window, or lie still with eyes half closed, unresponsive but peaceful. This isn't depression. It's not detachment in the emotional sense. It's something more profound, a quiet withdrawal from the outside world. Doctors call it active dying, but that term can sound so clinical. What's truly happening is that the person is preparing, on a deep, instinctual level, for the journey ahead. The body begins conserving energy. Hunger and thirst disappear. Even favorite foods are declined. The hands may grow cooler. The skin may appear pale or blotchy. These are the physical signs, yes, but emotionally and spiritually, the person is often already between two worlds. And yet, even in this silence, something sacred is happening. Many families describe a certain presence in the room, a stillness that feels full of meaning. Some say it's like the person is visiting another place and returning for moments at a time. They may whisper things that don't make sense to us or speak to people no one else can see. This is not something to fear. In fact, it's a time for peace, for simply being near, sitting beside them, holding their hand, playing soft music, reading familiar words, lighting a candle, just breathing together in quiet presence. No grand gestures are needed now. Just love, just comfort, just stillness. If there's something left unsaid, say it now. Even if they cannot respond, they often still hear. The ears are believed to be the last sense to fade. Speak your heart. Tell them they are safe, they are loved, that it's okay to let go. In these final days, life doesn't shout, it whispers, and in those whispers, we often find the deepest truth about what it means to love, to care, and to say goodbye. If you've made it to this point in the video, it means you care deeply, and that love is the greatest gift you can offer in someone's final year. This journey isn't easy. Watching someone you love slowly fade is one of the hardest things a human heart can endure. But recognizing these signs early allows you to walk that path with more grace, presence, and purpose. You can create space for closure, for healing, for small joys and quiet moments. Remember, the end of life is not just about dying. It's about completing the circle of love, being there fully when it matters most. So if you notice these subtle signs in someone close to you, don't wait. Show up. Sit close. Ask questions. Say what needs to be said. And listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you understand what might lie ahead, please share it with someone who might need it too. And if you want more gentle, thoughtful videos like this, subscribe to Wisdom in Stillness and turn on notifications. The quiet truths no one talks about are the ones we need most.